Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We got today a huge announcement. It seems January 6th is a day of freedom, not just for America, but also for Canada. Now, Joe Rogan may be making some appearances in Canada once again. He used to do shows all the time in Canada, but he boycotted it once he saw the true colors of Justin Trudeau. I'm going to show you some clips about how Joe Rogan feels about Justin Trudeau. And then I'm going to get to a big announcement. But just one clip first, then we get to a big announcement that was just made by Justin Trudeau. Let's get into it.
I love Canada. Vancouver's one of the most beautiful cities.
I don't go to Canada anymore. But
Ever?
No.
Do a gig there?
Not while that guy's president. You.
Yeah,
or
but
whatever he is,
what
prime
these people
minister.
are fans of yours. They want to see you.
You. Get rid of that guy. I'll come back. I just don't trust any of it up there.
Yeah.
I just think they're so far into tyranny right now. Like the laws that they're passing, the that they're doing, the erosion of people's rights. Like I don't want to support it. I think it's horrible.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people there just want to laugh. I think people need a laugh. You
Oh
know?
yeah, they definitely need a laugh. They're in the middle of a full-blown communist takeover. Yeah, it's a scary spot.
Yeah,
it's scary. But it used to be amazing. I used to say that Canada's 20% less douchebags. Like the people are 20% nicer than most people that you meet in America.
They're polite.
But that's why they get roped into all this. That's why they get roped into hate speech laws, because they want to be kind. They want to be good people. And they don't realize like compelled speech has a terrible ending. It always ends in communism because someone has to compel that speech. Who does? The people with guns. And they tell you what to do. Yeah. And then you have violence that is enforced to get people to follow a doctrine that they may or may not believe in.
Now, there you go. Justin Trudeau. Joe Rogan does not hold back when he talks about that guy, and I absolutely love it. Now, I will say one thing. Maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that used to be true about Canada versus the U.S. But Canada is very much, it's not just Justin Trudeau that's the problem. Well, I guess this is some of his policies, but the culture has changed very much. And if you go to both, you will kind of find that if you go to like the heart of Texas, and that's where I like to go. I love it. It's the best place in the world. You go there, people are very, very nice. Extremely nice. I mean, very, very nice. Very, very open to conversation and talking. You go to Canada, the culture is changing. Now, if you meet someone who is just a red-blooded Canadian that goes back as far as you can think, you'll be greeted with that type of politeness. But the people that are there now aren't really of the Canadian culture, so it's not really true. Huge announcement, though. Glorious day for Canadians.
So last night over dinner, I told my kids about the decision that I'm sharing with you today. I intend to resign as party leader, as prime minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the president of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. So last night over dinner.
That's code for if my own party doesn't want me to be prime minister anymore, I should probably just take a step back. It's a glorious day. You know, he's still going to be there. Okay. So a lot of people might hear this and think that he's out of there right away. Not so. Usually what would happen is the deputy prime minister would step in and become the prime minister. She actually resigned about 2 weeks ago, randomly. Then, because she was supposed to announce some fiscal thing or something to do with money, she was supposed to announce it, resigns before she can. The position falls to another person to do it. He resigns right away. So we don't actually know who's going to just become the prime minister. So they're going to find a new leader of the party, and that person may step in as prime minister, which is actually very weird. It's very Kamala Harris type of thing going on, because if someone just becomes party leader and now they're prime minister and no one voted for them, that's just more of Canada up to Canada things. You know what I mean? And I don't mean the people. I mean the government, of course. Let's get into a little more about how Joe Rogan feels about this man. Oh, Sorry. Gotta show that. Trump is Ron Swanson is just perfect. That is who Trump is. If everybody like who is who in Parks and Rec, Trump is definitely Ron Swanson. All right, let's move on here.
Canada is communist.
Canada's crazy.
They got to get rid of that guy.
How much time does he have? I feel like he's been prime minister for a while. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I don't know how their system works up there. I have zero understanding of their system.
Yeah.
I never looked into it at all. I liked him. I liked him before the pandemic.
Trudeau?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, he's a handsome guy.
Yeah.
Seems sweet.
Yeah.
You know, it's like good looking guy, confident, good talker.
Yeah.
And then during the pandemic, I'm like, oh, you're a f***ing dictator.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like criticism. You're trying to shut down criticism by saying that all your critics are misogynists and racists.
Yeah.
You hear he said that about the trucking people, the truckers?
He called them
All misogynists and racists.
Oof.
Yeah, he's gross. He's a sketchy guy.
Yeah.
And he's got some f***ing shaky deals. I would like to see like where the money is coming from. Like why do you want everybody to get injected every 4 months? They don't need that anymore. Like what are we doing? What are you doing? You can't even get into Canada unless you're
Can't get in?
No. Make sure that's true. Because someone just told me, Whitney just told me, she had to show her f***ing card to get into Canada.
That seems
It's a little
like it adds up further.
It's old.
Yeah.
Like it's 2022. It's not 2019.
You know where it still feels, because I think things sway there so aggressive.
Absolutely amazing. Just taking a stroll down memory road, and that actually was true. It was rather dystopian. Those V cards coming in hard. It was a sight to behold, having to think about that actually becoming a thing, and you had to run to saner pastures. How about that? That's why I stay in Texas, because I'm like, well, at least people will be normal if anything like that happens again, and something's on the rise apparently. That's for another episode, though. Let's get into another clip.
Pretty effective, especially you live in the frozen communist hole of Canada.
Yeah.
It's cold. You get real cold water.
When's the last time you've been up there? It's
I don't go up there anymore.
You refuse, right?
Yeah, what they've done up there, what they did with the trucker rally, and what Trudeau's doing with guns, and what they're trying to clamp down on censorship on the internet. That guy can eat. Like that place needs 100% an overhaul of government. Like they're sliding down that dangerous road of communism that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Pretty effective.
Well, I mean, let's hope Trudeau actually takes that advice and eats some of that. You know, I'll just leave it at that. Hopefully, he actually does that. There, we'll get into a little bit more about what's going on in Canada. This is the favorite thing, you know, him being Castro's son.
Look at the two of them together. No, there's some that are like... There's like multiple
right down
photos.
right down there. See that 6 pictures right there? There it is.
Yeah, that's it. That's wild. That is wild. That is fucking wild. When you look at those, just look at all of them. The top. Oh my God, look at the top one. Bro, that is wild.
But then you compare him to who they say is his father, and he doesn't look anything like his dad.
Amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Imagine in this announcement at the end, he's just like, and you know something? I am Castro's son. What are you going to do about it? I'm resigning. It doesn't matter. I am Castro's son. And you know what? I was lenient on you guys. Given who my father actually is, and I'm saying it, whatever, I was easy on you guys. You think I don't know how to enact communism? Oh, I could have went hard, guys. Can you imagine? I'd be like, wow. Castro level balls. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt these are Castro level balls we're seeing here as he's saying all this. But the problem is that he's still in office. And as he is still in office, he is still able to do things that could impact the Canadian people, could impact North America. And we've seen that already. A man in his last days doing things to hurt the country. Joe Biden, of course, is who we're talking about here. Listen to this.
Later today, on January 6th, Congress is going to will certify Mark's President-elect Trump's election results, and President Biden wasting no time cementing his far-left climate legacy with a last-ditch effort permanently banning offshore drilling in most U.S. waters. Incoming White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt joins us right now. Caroline, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to see you, Steve.
It's good to see you. So on the way out, in his last 2 weeks, what he's trying to do is he's trying to slow down Donald Trump, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. This is a disgraceful decision by the Biden administration. And I say the administration because we all know Joe Biden doesn't know what's going on. This isn't him. This is the radical left environmental extremists in his administration who don't care about what's in the best interest of the American people who just reelected President Trump with a resounding mandate to drill, baby, drill. This decision, the intent behind it is to exact political revenge on the American people and on President Trump to try to slow down his administration and make it harder to implement the agenda that he campaigned on. But the good news is President Trump is going to get to work to day one. His administration will look at how we can rescind this radical order and expedite permits for drilling and for fracking to bring down the cost of living and energy in this country. That's what he campaigned on, and the American people can expect President Trump to deliver on that promise. He will not be deterred.
Well, and here's the thing, Caroline. Apparently, a lot of these lands, and we're talking about the East Coast, West Coast, down the Gulf Coast, and up around the Bering Sea, a lot of these areas, gas refiners have not really had any interest in developing anyway. But nonetheless, it's just symbolic. And I know it's going to be challenged in court, and I know that Republicans can change the law. But still, for him to do it in the last 2 weeks, rather than his first 2 weeks, it speaks volumes.
100%. Very, very sad to see Biden doing this with his legacy, or, as she mentioned, somebody else doing this with his legacy just in the last 2 weeks here. It's very sad, but I just bring that up because that is what's possible when somebody is checked out. They've given, how many times have you seen it? You're working with somebody, they give their 2 weeks notice and then they're checked out and you're looking for help in your job. You're trying to pick orders. You guys are running behind. And there's one guy who just doesn't care. He's like, I'm starting a new job. I'm just here because I have to be here. And you're like, oh, well, this guy's he's just effed off. What are we supposed to do here? You'd rather him just leave. You'd rather him go home and just get paid and just go start his new job and get somebody in who's actually dedicated to the job, who wants to prove themselves. Yeah, so we might see some of that from Trudeau. And also, the bad thing is, this clip right here says a lot. If they find someone else to be the party leader in Canada, who are they going to find? Because according to Klaus Schwab, haven't talked about him for a while on the channel. According to Klaus Schwab, he owns a lot of the Liberal Party that Trudeau was running.
Like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on. So that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's true in Argentina as well.
It's true in Argentina, and it's true in France now. Mm-hmm. I'm here with the president, who is a young global leader. But what is important for me, like Prime Minister...
Terrifying. So they could find somebody else. Somebody else could step in, and now they're the party leader, and, they might have to step in as prime minister. Not sure how that's going to go. But all of a sudden, they're owned by the World Economic Forum as well. So now they start doing the same things, executing the agenda 2030 to be precise. I haven't talked about that in a while in the channel, but it's still full steam ahead. They're going hard, trying to make that thing happen. California announcing that they're going to have all electric cars, no gas cars, things like that. That's all part of the World Economic Forum's Agenda 2030, transhumanism. And I don't mean gender. I mean in terms of merging with machines. That's also part of Agenda 2030. A lot of what you see Canada do wanting to have people face a $25,000 fine if they protest around somebody who is a part of the alphabet community and that person feels threatened. Fined or jail time. That's a part of Agenda 2030. So just because Justin Trudeau is now stepping down doesn't mean that they're going to get someone that's any better. It's good because, we need him to stop. And what the hope is that Pierre, and I'm going to butcher this name probably, Pierre Poilievre, the hope is that he steps in and that he's more like a Canadian Trump. And he has a lot of common sense and he starts doing things a lot better and he helps Canada. But I mean, the best thing he could do is just come over and just just hand Canada over. It's okay. Hand it over. Give those Canadians, how many Canadians want that sweet, sweet First and Second Amendment? That sweet, sweet recognition that if things get too tyrannical, they can step up. You know how many Canadians would love that? Oh, man. Anyway, I'll end it off with this little message from Joe Rogan.
Yelling Trudeau.
Love it.
Yeah.
That guy's
Canada,
a piece of shit.
Get your shit together. Come back. Come back to what you used to be. I mean,
Amazing. Come back to what you used to be. Hopefully that happens. Hopefully there's a turning in the entire continent. Get Pierre in there, Trump in there, start working together as they really should, if they're not handing it over, you know what I mean? Really work together. I just hope this is a big turning point. I just really do. Anyways, guys, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and get ready, because Jamie Raskin said about a year ago that on January 6th, he would make sure that Trump was not certified or disqualified because they were going to enact the 14th Amendment, Section 3, which I believe states that if you head up an insurrection, that you cannot be president. And he said that's what he's going to try and do. He said that word for word. I talked about it in the weekly show I do with Hank. He said that. Today's the day. So we'll see if Kamala Harris does what she should do and what the American people want, or if they're going to do some absolutely terrible thing to the American people. Anyways, guys, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Helps the channel tremendously. I'm out.